Welcome to the third lecture on design and analysis of experiments. Today we will discuss the types of experimental design. Contents of today's presentation are objective of experimental design, one factor complete randomized design, one factor randomized complete block design, two factor complete randomized design, two factor randomized complete block design, general factorial design, to the power k factorial design, to the power k minus p fractional factorial design, central composite design and other special design. So, we will discuss very brief what are those different types of designs, and we will take around 1 hour into halves of 30 minutes each to complete this introductory part on types of designs. In fact, the subsequent lectures will be detailing all those designs and their analysis one after another. So, objectives of experimental design. If you recall my first two lecture, I explained you the process model. This process model, it is a very important one, and you please understand that whenever we talk about experiment, we talk about experiment of a process, on a process, and which is controlled by several controllable factors, which is affected by uncontrollable factors, and the effects are realized on the output response variable. From that point in view, then we have also discussed that process characterization, then process control, then your process optimization and robust design. These are the objectives what we want to achieve through design of experiments and analysis of experimental data. We can see the objectives in some other ways, like there may be comparative objectives. By comparative objective, we mean that there are several factors which are governing the output variable. So, which are the factors are having more effect, which are having less effect, that sense you can do some comparison. The screening objectives, there may be some factors which ultimately insignificantly contributing towards the output or the behavior of the response variable. Those will be screened out for subsequent analysis and decision making, and that is why this is known as screening objective. Then response surface objective. The response surface is pertaining to the output variable or the response variable y. So, what it is objective? We want to see the how the that behavior of y will change when we go from the one level of a factor to another level, or when we change several factors at a time from one level to another level. So, this can be seen through response surface, which is basically a function of x. Now, this response surface case, we may be interested to know where the optimum response lies. What does it mean? It means that what are the settings for the control variables, so that we can achieve the optimum desirable value of y, and then the process operator will set the set the process or tune the parameters of the process during in that range, so that optimum y will be achieved. Another one is mixture objective. In mixture objective, what happened that there are certain situations where we require to mix several materials together in certain proportion, and the total will be 100%. So, this require a different kind of design, and that is known as mixture design, and the objective is to find out the perfect blend or the proportion of different ingredient that will be mixed. So, in order to achieve that, the design is called mixture design, and the objective is to get the perfect mixture. So, now consider let us consider the factors. So, as you see from this model, there can be several factors, some are controllable, some are uncontrollable, and also the controllable factors can be 1, can be 2, can be many more. Now, we will consider henceforth primarily the controllable factors, and we will try to find out how the design will, experimental design will change if we take one factor at a time, 2 factors at a time, and also include some of the uncontrolled or noise variables in the experiment, how the factor experimental design will change. We will see first one example. So, let me read out the example. An engineer is studying methods for improving the ability to detect targets on a radar scope. What is the objective? Improving the ability to detect targets on a radar scope. So, that means this radar scope suppose is a product produced through certain process, and the radar scope will be such that it will be able to detect, the operators while using the radar scope will detect the target quite easily. So, there are multiple factors, controllable and uncontrollable factors, which will govern the production process, and as well as it should be considered that when the radar scope will be used, what are the factors that will govern. Now, the engineer finds that 2 important factors while designing the product, that is the radar scope, is amount of background noise, which is known as ground clutter, and second one is the type of filter placed over the screen. So, these 2 important factors, they are controllable factors, because the it is assumed that the ground clutter can be controlled, as well as type of field. You have the opportunity to choose different kinds of filters. So, that is controllable. So, it is experienced that the ground clutter can be categorized into 3 levels, like low clutter, medium clutter and high clutter situation, and 2 filter types are available in the market. The experiment can be performed by randomly selecting a treatment combination, that means ground clutter level and filter type, and then introducing a signal representing the target into the scope. The intensity of this target is increased until the operator observes it. The intensity level at detection is then measured as the response variable y. So, the ability to detect targets, this is measured through intensity level, what is the intensity at which the operator is able to see the target. So, this intensity level can be measured, and which is the response variable. Because of operator's availability, it is convenient to select an operator and keep him or her at the scope until all the necessary runs have been made. Furthermore, operators differ in their skill and ability to use the scope. Okay. So, you can convert this into the pictorial representation like the process model, but many a times what happen, we will be having the analogy with the product design. Sometimes it is not possible, because when we may be interested to link with some kind of service, some kind of other kind of observation also, but the process model in general can be fitted to any example, and with this example also. So, how we are fitting this process model here? We are saying that what are the controllable factors? Controllable factors are ground clutter and type of filter. Ground clutter we are denoting by factor A, types of level by factor B, and there is another factor which is operator. Now, depending on the situation, operator can be a controllable factors or can be a noise also, but most of the time it will be uncontrollable one, because the plant or the process where the operations will be taken place, the operators will come from that locality, unless it is a very specialized process. So, under the situation you have to rely on the local available people. So, it will be a uncontrollable one. So, another important one is the process output, which is response variable. In this case, the intensity level at which the detection is possible. So, given this information, let us see some of the designs. First, think for one factor complete randomized design. Here, the engineer assumed that the factor ground clutter could be the most important one, and hence decides to conduct experiments with A only. Please remember, this is not the correct one, because first of all only two factors we have considered, and secondly only one noise or uncontrolled factor operators are also considered, and we have simplified this here further with one factor only. It is to show that, it is to let you learn that if you consider one factor, how you will do one factor complete randomized design. So, it may be a situation that one factor is important and you want to do one factor experiment. So, in this factor case, another important consideration is the label. Here we are saying label low level, medium level, high level. Please keep in mind few things. In the process model, controllable factors. So, factor is very important. In this case, we are considering factor A. Second is, it is not that all the values of the factors you will consider and accordingly you will do experiment. It is not possible. Many a times factor can be categorical in nature, but even if continuous factor case, you cannot consider all the values for A. In this case, ground clutter given 3 labels. So, another important, when you say factor, another important one is label. Here we have 3 level, 1, 2, 3. So, 1 is low, 2 is medium, 3 is high. Okay. Then what you are doing here, you want to see that whether the y is basically the intensity level at detection. What is y? Intensity level at detection. So, whether this y value changes if you do an experiment keeping ground clutter at low, keeping ground clutter at medium, keeping clutter at high level, or other way I can say factor with level 1, level 2 and level 3. So, then you have to conduct an experiment. There are 3 settings, please keep in mind: low, medium and high. So, these 3 levels, one factor. So, 3 independent or distinct experimental settings: low, medium and high. Suppose you thought that you will conduct experiment keeping A at low, A at medium and A at high, and the number of experiment in each of the settings. These are experimental settings which is also known as treatments. The process is treated at this level, at this level or at this level. These are known treatments. So, factor A, when it is low, this is one kind of treatment to the process. When factor A is at medium level, another kind of treatment, at high level another kind of treatment. So, I can say that experimental setting or experimental treatments, the material which is going through the process being treated all those different levels. So, maybe at each settings or treatment, suppose you want to do the experiment several times. If in a setting or treatment level, if you repeat the experiment several times, basically you are interested to know get more number of observations, and which is known as replications. So, in this case, in general replication can be n. So, in this case, suppose 8 number of experimental run in each applications. So, what is happening here? You have 8 into 3, total 24 experimental runs. So, it is complete because you have considered all the labels. And what is randomization here? So, you require 24 experiments to be conducted, keeping or at settings low, medium and high for ground clutter, or at the treatment low, medium and high, and 8 on each of the treatment levels. Now, what you require to do? You cannot do the experiment, suppose low, keeping A factor at low and do 5 experiments, get the data, then medium repeat, then high repeat. This is not randomization. What you require? As 24 experimental runs are required, what you do? You randomly choose the order of experimentation. So, using rand function in Excel, you can do this kind of randomization. For example, using rand function, we found that the first experiment is this one. So, the second experiment will be here. So, what does it mean? First experimental run, you are conducting first experimental run, keeping ground clutter at low level and observing the response y, which is 96 intensity level. Second experiment will be done at medium level only, and this is the case. Third one where? Third one may be here. Okay. Fourth one here. So, like this order of experimentation is random, and using random number, what happen? You generate different these things. Here actually the 24 observations, what way we have done this one? We have thought that there will be 24 experiments, and we give this 1, 2, 3, 4 like this first, and then using rand function we found out the which one will be which cell. There are 24 cell. There are 24. This data we put as per this. There are 24 cells. This cells first, this cell second, this cell third, this cell fourth, like this. So, you have to do randomization. Okay. So, once you do randomization and you take all all factors, all level, then this is complete, and we assume that this kind of data we will get. Now, once you get this kind of data, then what happened? What is your aim here, objective here? You want to know that if you keep ground clutter at low level, medium level, high level, whether there is change in mean value of the response y. A box plot is one of the important box plot is one of the important plot which gives you some fair idea that whether there is difference in mean values of the responses or not. If you see, there were somewhere mean value will be here, somewhere mean value will be here, somewhere mean value will be here. So, there is a increasing trend. So, we and the difference may be significant. So, at first hand we understand that yes, if you change the factor from low to medium to high, there is a possible change in response variable. Whether that change is significant or not, that will be understood through analysis only. So, now what is happening? Okay. Now, we will discuss about one factor with random complete block design. We are bringing one concept called block. If you have seen in first lecture, I think in the second lecture, that blocking is an important concept, blocking. So, I said blocking is an important concept, blocking. So, in this example, so there are 4 operators, and as the operators differ in their skill and ability to use the scope, it is logical to use the operators as blocks, because if I choose operator 1, operator 2, operator 3 and operator 4, and they vary in their expertise, their knowledge, their educational background, if they vary, then what will happen when operator 1 will see the scope, radar scope, and the intensity level required to see the target, there may be variability, there will be variability induced in this process. So, in that case, operators are contributing in the results. So, you can block these nuisance. So, if you do this is known as blocking. So, in order to blocking, what you require to do, at least that all the labels for the factors, this label, all the label, this must be experiment must be conducted by each of the blocks. So, operator 1 definitely will conduct experiment for all the 3 labels, operator 2 also, operator 3 also, operator 4 also. So, that means you have sufficient material or the time and other things available, so that all the blocks, here in this case operators, can be effectively used. Fortunately enough, what happened, we have for at each level against each operator 2 level of two times experiments, that is the sample size here for each combination is 2. So, that means we are doing replication also. So, this is known as complete random complete block design, okay, RCBD. So, the experiment will be conducted based on that certain random order and in random sequence. It is that randomization using the random number table or using some program, and that means here again the 24 cells are there, you require to do 24 experiment, you randomize it. So, your randomization should not be in any sequence like this, the order of experiment should not be like this, that you will first do low, then medium level, that high level. Here maybe you take first operator 1, then operator 2, operator 3, that should not be, it should be completely randomized. So, if you maintain this randomization, and you are in a position to block the operator, in this case the operators or the nuisance factors, then you can add this nuisance factor into the design, and then this design will be known as randomized block design. And again it is complete because all the settings, that low, medium, high, and also all the operators together we have done it. Then I will go, where is this one factor RCBD, then we will see that two factors. So, first so what I have explained? I explained one factor complete randomized design, then I explained one factor with blocking. Now, we are saying that another design, two factors complete randomized design. So, you have seen in this example that ground clutter and type of filter, two controllable factors. So, if you consider this clutter type and filter type, that is the factor A and this is factor B, then as clutter type has 3 labels and filter has 2 labels. So, how many treatments combination you are getting? 6. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see you are getting low, medium, high, 1, 2, 3 into 2 to 6. And how many observation under this case? 1, 2, 3, 4. You just see that low and type filter 1 in. So, replication 4. Here also 4. So, like this 4 replication, 6 different treatment combinations or 6 different training settings, and each settings with random with on the basis of complete randomization you have done it. Okay. So, first one is one factor complete randomized design, second one is one factor randomization with blocking, third one is two factor complete randomized design. We are not considering blocking here. Now, if you see the response versus clutter types, that is factor A, and response versus that is filter type, then this is B. Okay. So, you see that clutter level 1 to level 2 to level 3. So, there is increase in response, and similarly filter type also, if you go from 1. So, filter type, this is a wrong plot. So, filter type 1 to 2, this portion is not required, this much. So, again it is increasing, but anyhow what we require to do, because then you may be interested to know what is this value and what is this value, because there are several values, several observations are there. So, what we are saying that when your clutter type level low, then we found out the average of all the Y responses. Okay, I am sorry, it is correct. I have just missed this one. What we are doing here, this is clutter type, yes, it is A, this is A. So, filter type 1, filter type 2. So, if you keep filter type 1, means this one, and you change your clutter type from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, how the changes in responses are taking place, it is given here. So, filter type 1 low level, what is the average value? This. Then second average value this, third average value this. So, the average response average response for low, medium, high of factor A when factor B is at 1, that is filter type 1, then this is the behavior, and same for filter type 2. Okay. So, this is known as two factor complete randomized design. Okay. So, now please let me repeat again. You must first know number of factors, second you must know label of each factors, then you will know the settings or the treatments, then in each treatment or setting or treatment you will conduct several experimental runs. This is known as replication, and obviously your experiment will not be in a particular order, it should be random order. So, randomization with respect to that the order of the factors, that low, medium, high, the combinations, and also it is not that if your replication you want to replicate 4 times. So, you choose randomly a particular setting or treatment and then experiment 4 times they are in sequence, that is also not permitted, that also be random. So, that means you will choose one cell at a time and that selection will come through the randomization. Okay. So, in two factor case, your number of factor 2, here labels 3 and 2 labels, while in general factor A label can be A labels, factor B label can be B labels. In this particular example, A equal to 3 and B equal to 2. Okay. Then now you can do two factor factorial design with blocking also. In the example, if we keep operator as block and two different factors A and B, A3 label and B filter type 2 labels each, and we have first block operator, second block for operator 2, third block for operator 3, fourth block for operator 4. So, then what are you doing here? In each block, that all the 6 treatment combinations are 6, because here 3, here 2, A equal to 3, B equal to 2, number of treatments will be A, B, that is 6. We also sometimes say the independent distinct experimental setting, distinct experimental settings. So, block operator 2, operator 3, operator 4. Okay. So, then I hope that you are now understood what is randomized design, complete randomized design, and complete randomization with blocking. So, blocking for some noise variables or some variable whose inclusion ultimately affect the response, but you do not want to estimate what is its effect, rather you want to estimate the effect of the factors, controllable factors like A and B in presence of the block, in presence of the Noether Fisher. Okay. Then come to the general factorial design. That means, suppose you think of that you have k number of factors, k number of factors. If k equal to 3, then we can say ground clutter A one factor, filter type B another factor, maybe operator C another factor. These are all controllable factors we are considering. So, here we assume that operator can also be controlled. So, in this case you will have a general factorial design. So, I say k number of factors are there. So, in this case suppose you have k number of factors, k factors. So, I can say A, B, C, D like this up to k. So, then each factor here in case of ground clutter low, medium, high. So, similarly, there may be different A labels. So, for B it may be at B labels, C it may be C labels, D it may be with D labels, like up to K that may be your some M label, kth label. Okay. So, all those factors if you consider and then do the complete randomized design, and then you generate, and this will be known as general factorial design. General factorial design. Okay. So, in factorial design there are few interesting things are there. Suppose you have seen already seen that in the example that clutter versus your response y, when your clutter ground clutter low level, medium level and high level, and then how this change is taking place. Suppose this is filter type 1. Now, it may so happen, and also you have seen for filter type 2 maybe something like this, but I have to check. So, in that case what is happening, that what effect you may be interested to know the effect of A. Similarly, you may be interested to know the effect of B. Similarly, you will be able to know the effect of C, effect of D like this. When you are interested to know effect of A, B, C, all those things, they are known as main effects. But it may be you may be interested to know if both the factors present, how they ultimately influence the y. So, that means their interaction effects you may be interested to know. Interaction effects. So, in factorial design, main effects and interaction effects are very, very important. If there are k number of factors, so you will be having k main effects. And how many interaction effects will be there? There will be many interaction effects, because there will be two OA interaction when A in between A and B, or B and C or A and D like this. So, 2 OA, that will be n if there are how many factors, k number of factors are there, k C2, similarly 3 OA interaction, k C3, 4 OA interaction, k C4, finally kth OA interaction, k CK. So many interactions will be there. So, these are all important things to know. In factorial design, we want to know what are the effect of each of the factors and whether they are significant or not. What are the interaction effects, maybe 2 OA interaction, 3 OA interaction, 4 OA interaction, depending on the number of factors present. But it is interesting to note that the main effects and the lower order interaction effects are usually significant, and higher order or more higher order interaction effects are usually become insignificant. This is known as the sparsity of the effects principle. So, we will discuss this when we will detail the general factorial design. So, thank you very much. In next class, some of the other design aspects will be discussed, and today in this lecture, so we have discussed that there will be complete randomized design with one factor, complete randomized design with two factor, complete randomized design with more than two factors, multiple factors, which is general factorial design. There is another important concept called blocking. So, what you require to do? You require to block the nuisance variables during design, then it with one factor it will be one factor blocking with blocking, two factors with blocking, or multiple factors with blocking. Thank you.